All right, up next, our conversation is with Endeavor Entrepreneurs Miami. Please give a warm welcome to George Prado, founder and CEO of Fastmind, Veronica Pascual, CEO of ASTI, Matteo and Cera, and CEO of Hogaru, and Laura Maydon, Director of Endeavor Miami, as your moderator. Welcome.
Hello, everyone. We're super excited to be here moderating this panel of Endeavor entrepreneurs from different parts of the world, true scale-ups. So hopefully we can have an interesting conversation today. For those of you who don't know, Endeavor is the only global organization that supports entrepreneurs at scale. We are present in 34 markets, and the entrepreneurs go through a very thorough selection process, and once they are selected, Endeavor offers them services to accelerate their growth. We believe that we select the best, so you're looking at the best here. And our mission is to drive the entrepreneurial ecosystem locally. So with that, I'm going to ask each of them to briefly introduce themselves and their companies so that you get an idea of the different profiles of entrepreneurs that we have here today. Jorge.
Hi, good morning. Jorge with the Fastmind. Happy to be here. We're not the best. Our teams are the best. I will correct that. We have a technology that helps marketers and business to expand their content detail across all internet organically by a fast card, reducing all the frictions in the process of accessing any digital content.
Hello, I am Veronica Pascual, coming from Spain. We have a mobile robotics company that is the European leader, selling in 17 countries and using mobile robots for the industrial processes automation. And I think we will go farther after.
Hi, everybody. My name is Matteo Cera. I'm the CEO of Hogaru. Hogaru is a tech-enabled facility management company focused on cleaning and maintenance services in Colombia. Differently from other service marketplaces, we employ all of our employees with benefits and health insurance and pension. And right now we are getting to the 1,000 direct employees mark.
Thank you. So as you can see, it's Miami, Spain, and Colombia represented. Very different business models. So my first question to the three of you is, we talk a lot about startups and scale-ups. In your mind, what's the difference and how you can move from startup, or what really makes it a difference for you to move from startup to the scale-up phase? Matteo.
I guess when a startup starts, there is a first phase where you want to validate your prototype. So you need a very few users that love your product. Then you become a startup and you're looking for product market fit. So you want to make sure your product is loved by more users and you start having some metrics. And then the next step is when you stop thinking only about your product and really think about, one, your organization. So you stop building a product and you start building together an organization, a company. So you have to build all the processes and systems so that what is your core, your product, is surrounded by people and processes and systems that are able to scale with the product itself. And then there is also a mind shift from the entrepreneur or the co-founder's team that need to, go from, I love my product, I think only about my product, to I need to build an organization.
Vero.
Well, I think you said everything more or less. Like when you are a scale-up, the main problem is execution. So how to operate execution in a proper way when scaling up your business, both in products, regions, activity sectors where you're trying to have additional market fit for your products. So the question is from the regional startup phase, where the main question is, as said, the product market fit. On the scale up, The main purpose of the entrepreneur and his or her team is how to execute growth in an excellent way, wherever growth means, products, regions, or markets.
Yes. From an organizational perspective, from a team perspective, being a startup or a scale-up is also different. As a startup, you normally have a small team, and each member of the team has several responsibilities, and therefore in different areas. When you start going to a scale-up, now you need to separate marketing from sales, even creating verticals within your own team. Also from a funding perspective or from a organizational systems in place. Now you need to have a systems in place for each of the process of your company to be able to scale. And to a funding perspective also is different in the sense that you need to have a clear strategy of how much is a user acquisition and how much revenue will drive a user acquisition, because as my partner says, you already have a product market fit. You're not testing anymore. So having that economics into your product is what it leads you to scale the business as fast as you can. So it's not only as a product perspective, but also as an organizational perspective, the differences.
And on that same topic, the three of you have very different models, right? Matteo, you're based in Colombia, scaling in Colombia. Veronica, you're in different parts of Europe and Latin America and looking at the US, and Fastmind is also expanding in the US and outside the US. So tell us why you decided to scale in Colombia and how are you if you're thinking to expanding outside, and then the two of you, why did you decide to go so early, so quickly to different markets?
I think it's a matter of market opportunity and of growth and pace of growth. So in our case, we are trying to replace a market that in Colombia is represented by about 1 million domestic cleaners, and we employ just short of 1,000. So there is a long way to go before we actually need to think, hey, what's our next growth phase? So for us, it was a trade-off between growing faster in a country where we already know or trying to expand just for the sake of expanding internationally. We would love to expand internationally at the right moment with the right resources.
Well, in our case, ASTI had to be global because our customers are global. So they're not just buying mobile robots for some factories in some countries. They demand to have an autonomous mobility partner wherever they are and to have a common strategy on rolling out the technology of automation of their industrial processes all over the world. So being international, worldwide wasn't an option not to be. I mean, we had to be global, and that has driven a very fast expansion of the company in different countries.
Yes, in our case, content is everywhere. There is no boundaries for us like countries. When you help a business to grow their content online, they're everywhere. The challenges are completely different. Content challenge based in Latin America, where we started, are less process in place, quick decisions, last-minute decisions. When we start growing in the US, there's different type of challenges where service, for example, is a high response that they needed, high response. But definitely expanding to the US has helped us, helping our business to scale even faster than we thought.
And now for each of you to share a little bit more about yourselves. So I'm going to start with Veronica. Your story, you bought the company from your family, and then you decided to scale it and transform it. Share a little bit with us how that journey has been and what have been your most difficult challenges.
Well, I became part of ASTI at the end of 2003, so 15 years ago now, and I acquired the company 10 years ago. And in this time, the company has multiplied 20 times the turnover, has become global company, and many things have happened. And all those changes have come in the origin from being a project company doing very made-to-measure projects for our customers to becoming a product company that was understanding that our products demand services, so organizing, distillating from our solutions, project services, and building up an organization that was leveraging on the positive core of the original business that I bought and convert it into a global business with, of course, team is the most important thing. When you scale a business is how you organize your teams, how do you do this vision and consistency. That has been all the path in every business plan is where do we want to be and what do we need to do now to achieve where we want to be in 5 years or in 3 years' time. And this has led a lot of things, what we call the journeys, the customer journey, the technological journey, the talent journey, operative excellence journey, and the ecosystem journey. So with the mix of those 5, we've always served like the waves of each business plan. So to achieve the growth, not only growth in terms of economics, but also in terms of all the qualitative aspects that needed to be implemented to support the next growth.
And Jorge, you started in the gaming industry and decided to pivot. Tell us about why and how has that journey been for you, and also how do you continue to innovate in this ever-changing world?
Yes, definitely. We're a live example of a pivot. I encourage everyone that want to expand, innovate. Don't be afraid to pivot. It is scary. Definitely it is, because it is an unknown world out there. The technology help you to try to test new things faster. In our case, we had a technology that was helping our games to scale even fast, organically around the world. Will lead us all the way to have 40 million users into the game business. And then we knew that we couldn't create as much as content as we want, so we decided to open our technology for other companies to expand their content. But now you're changing from a B2C business, from a business to business, which is a completely organization, completely process of thinking. It's a completely challenge. So that was the main challenge for us. We're still surfing into that transition. We luckily would say our team has been able to test the product, do market fit, but now we need to convert the rest of the company, not only the product, into a B2B company, and that's what we're doing right now.
And Matteo, I think you're in a very interesting space, and some people talk about impact, social impact, contradictory to profitability and scale. And in your case, you were able to demonstrate that you can do both. So can you tell us why and how?
Well, we were not born to have a social impact by definition. We learned about it during the journey. But so again, what we do is we sell cleaning and maintenance services and products to small businesses and homes. And we figured out, differently from other marketplaces that failed in the mission, that the only way to retain our service providers within our platform was to give them a better value proposition than what they could get outside our platform. So the classic Uber model, where the person is a freelance that works some hours but not full-time, is not really applicable to us, because the client wants to see the person, the service provider, the cleaner, every day the same person. So the only way for us was to give them an excellent value proposition, which was a full-time job with all benefits, with pension, with health insurance. And lately, we started to give loans as well, educational plans as well, so that our cleaners feel part of a company and not left alone as freelancers. And that was really the key of the retention of our cleaners and therefore of our clients too. So we are born as a full for-profit company, but we found out that the only way to run our business was to have a very strong impact on the service providers.
Right. How do you think about culture and building your teams as you scale, which is one of the challenges that most entrepreneurs face?
Definitely, it changed, and it creates people to have frictions and all that, because when you're scaling, you need to move fast. You need to make as much as mistakes as you can, as fast as you can. So people need to take the blame, responsibility, the courage to make those mistakes. And sometimes that's not easy at all. But definitely, if you encourage a culture within the company where mistakes are part of the process, where when you're scaling, and that would change a little bit from a startup to a scale up, and I'm going to throw a difference, because mistakes when you're a startup are more allowed, you have less users, less clients, so less impact. When you start scaling up, you need to put the process in place to try to make less mistakes in the sense of, but not stop innovating as a company. But definitely that creates some of pain within the teams. What works for us is understanding that is part of a culture, that is part of a process, and that's the only thing that will lead us to success, is making mistakes.
So when you scale fast the company, culture is like the only stickness within the people in the team, because you grow much faster than the processes and the organization grow. So a lot of times, many times, the people do not know how to proceed in a very specific way. So culture is what helps taking decisions when nothing else is previously set. So that is why it's so important, like for each stage, because the company in each stage needs to also change slightly the culture, because in each stage of the company you need new things. You are accessing to new markets, you have new challenges, you might have new products, new capabilities or competencies. So the question is that how you tune the culture per stage, and how do you make that culture being homogeneous in the people in the team when you go so fast and when you hire so fast that there is nearly no time for sharing that culture and living that culture. And this demands to have a lot of innovation in the way innovation applied to your own company. Is how do you do to build this culture evolving fast enough and homogeneous enough?
Anything else?
Well, I think they already covered. At the very beginning, a startup, the culture is just the behavior of the founders with the small team that you have. But I think things change when the first time you meet somebody in the cafeteria that don't know her or his name. And you're like, how does she know what is important for the company if I don't even know her name? And that's where you start thinking about the processes and the systems and so on. It was fun, like on the plane I had some time and I started to writing the first administrative guide on how to ask for vacation, how to ask for time off, and what to do in this case. Because at the end of the day, I realized that between 6 offices, people do not just absorb those things by one of us as founders as they did 2 years ago.
Process. We meet a lot of seasoned entrepreneurs like you here in our markets, and they question why someone like the 3 of you would join Endeavor. So why Endeavor, and what has Endeavor done for you? And you want to start, Jorge? Or
I think is going from a startup to a scale up, one thing you should realize, the sooner you realize it, is the better it is for the company, is that we all need helps. Need helps in different areas. And in the different type of help. Like when you're a startup, it's a different help you need. It's more like a product, tech, how to measure things, how to do the first early test. And then when you start scaling up, as we discussed today, is it organizational process, it's a scaling teams, hiring fast, but you always need help. And there is a ton of entrepreneurs who has done this path. Some of them successfully, some of them not successful, but you can learn from all of them to try to avoid the mistake that someone else has even made, or follow the path of those successful people that are out there that has done it before us in a different products and different businesses. So what Endeavor has come to us is put that network into our system. well, the day we acknowledge that we needed that help is the day Endeavor started helping the most and help us not only to growth within our territory, which is the one you feel more comfortable, but also expanding other geos in other verticals with mentors that definitely have gone through our pains, to our success, to our crazy good and bad days, and we can, in a very confident environment, share with them our problems, our success, and they have been helping us a lot. Thank you.
Shall I? Well, when you are scaling up a business, you feel alone. So, because you're managing so many things, there are so many risky decisions that are being made. The teams usually are asking you to go slower, but you need to go faster because the market is demanding you to be faster. So, being part of a network as Endeavor, where you have not only access to great mentors, but it's also a global network where you have good mentors in different countries, that is great. Second is, as previously said, is that entrepreneurs will learn so much from other entrepreneurs because your next door neighbor has lived many of the challenges you're living. So there is a lot of collective know-how being generated, and also we are extremely generous in transferring our know-how. That is very important. And third, I would say that like being an entrepreneur in a scale-up business is like having a sickness, no? You are, it's a great sickness, but it's, and it's great to be with other people that, like a communa where you have other people with the same sickness that you have because you don't feel so horribly alone. You sit with someone else that tells you even crazier ideas than the one you have. And that is super challenging because it gives a lot of energy.
And Matteo, I think I should say that you also are part of Y Combinator, so, you know, a big accelerator. You all have boards, so.
Yeah, I mean, we are proud of having been part of YDA, Telefonica, Y Combinator, and then Endeavor. And probably Endeavor is the program that added most value because, as it was already said, it's a decentralized network, right? So in every country, you find local experts of that country, but also you find global experts of specific products, specific industries, and so on and so forth. Plus, what we benefit from is not only the network, but all the activities that Endeavor organizes aside. Like, we were just discussing the access to executive education for founders that maybe, you know, I left school 15 years ago. And for the first time, I went back to school with Endeavor entrepreneurs, and that was an amazing experience. So I do sincerely feel privileged to be part of the network. It's probably the most game-changing network that we were part of.
Thank you. So we have about a minute. So quick question. Slow and steady or fast and furious?
Wow. I think it's
Refer
no right.
to what?
Fast and Furious.
Slow and steady or fast and furious?
Growth.
I don't know if in terms of growth, fast and furious, but there are processes and things that need to go slow and steady. I would say there's no right or wrong answer. Definitely, when you find a product market fit, if you want to raise competition's barriers, you need to go fast and furious, definitely. But there's some other times that you need to take it steady, think where you're going, replan, and then go fast and furious again. I think it's a whole curve process. If somebody tells you like one is the right or wrong answer, I mean, I don't think it is.
No, there must be a balance. No, there are some processes that are critical and that need to be steady and have a shorter pace of growth, and there are many others that need to grow extra furious. So, so you need to have both. I completely agree.
And Veronica, you mentioned the tension of your team.
Yeah.
You know, the team sometimes wants a different pace than you, right?
Yeah, bueno, that's constant. If you want to go at this speed, your team, even if they are a superb and great team, they always want to go slower and do things and test everything. But, bueno, that's the good balance, no? Learning to listen when this is really needed compared to the ones that you're hearing that this is needed, but it's not really needed. You can go even faster. So.
Agree. I think there is a moment to go slow and steady, and I want to go faster. I'll make one example. When teams do not find product market fit, whatever fast and furious is just wasting money. I know it's not your money, but still it's wasting money. So I'm a strong advisor of finding product market fit and then grow fast.
Great. Well, thank you so much to Jorge, Veronica, and Matteo for sharing with us the challenges of scaling and the adventures of scaling as well. And thanks, everyone, for being with us here.
Thank you. Go Endeavor.
Thank you.
Go Endeavor.